everyone! Today I will be presenting about my internship, Benton Tax and Accounting. It all started in 1977 when Jane Benton had her son who was born with heart conditions. Her job at H&R Block was no longer an option as she needed to have a flexible schedule where she could stay at home to take care of her son. That's when she decided to do people's taxes in her basement. She had very few clients at first, but now has around 3,000. Jane tried a few different locations to keep her business at, but for the past 31 years, it's been in Pleasant Valley. Now, Tanya and Jane both own the business. Jane is technically retired, but still helps check the tax returns to make sure they are accurate. In fact, let's just take a quick tour of the place. When a client walks in, they'll be greeted by two of our lovely receptionists. If you go straight down this hallway whenever you first walk in, you'll see some cubbies on the right where tax team members interview clients. There are also some workspaces, one of which Brian is in. By taking one more right, you will be led into the kitchen, which also links to the other side of the building. Here is where the preparers and other offices are. Coming up, you will see Brittany, who is one of our tax team members and sometimes a receptionist as well. The building loops back around to where we started at the lobby. Something a client might see when they're in the building is a framed print from the Kansas City Business Journal, ranking Benton Tax and Accounting as the 9th best tax preparation firm. One client mentioned that they left H&R Block and is much more satisfied with the work at Benton. Many other clients have agreed that the environment is welcoming and everyone is super friendly. Taxes can be stressful and are dreaded by most people. Benton Tax and Accounting takes those negative feelings away and satisfies their customers. Now let's take a deeper look into this business and talk about the employees who make Benton such a nice place. As the owners of the business, Jane and Tanya have a lot of responsibilities. Tanya is one of the preparers, so she has to complete hundreds of people's taxes, which we will get into later. Another thing Tanya does, which Jane does as well, is double-check every single tax return to make sure that it is correct. Sandy is the office manager and also my boss. While Jane and Tanya handle the big picture stuff that keeps the business running, Sandy assures that the environment, employees, and customers are doing well. An example of this would be when the new software system was having issues. In January, before Benton Tax and Accounting officially opened, they installed a new system that would shut down or straight up not work. It was Sandy that spent many hours on the phone to get it fixed, and now everything is working smoothly. Deanne, Sarah, Tanya, and Carol are the preparers. They have one of the most important jobs, which is to get the client's taxes done. These ladies work very hard to make sure their clients pay the least amount possible while maintaining a trustworthy, friendly relationship with them. Now we're going to talk about who does the accounting work. Roxy handles most of it with some help from Sarah and Kara. They also help with the business's finances. Next, I'm going to bring up the tax team members and the receptionist. All of the receptionists are also tax team members. Reception is where the whole tax process begins. The receptionists greet the clients, verify their information, take their documents, and send them to have an interview with the tax team member. When a tax team member has an interview with the client, they go into detail about what documents the client brought in. They also use a checklist where they ask questions to verify that everything that is needed is here. Doing this helps build a connection with the clients while also making the process easier for us. Lastly, we have to mention the best employee, Leo. He brings smiles to everyone that walks through the door. These are all of the people and positions taxes go through when they get done in tax and accounting. If the taxes are brought in early enough, this whole process can be completed within a week. One of the many ways Benton Tax and Accounting stays stable are their plans and rules for how to do certain things. Since Benton Tax and Accounting only needs employees for such a short amount of time, they try to rehire the same people from previous years and offer them a raise. This hiring process begins in December so that any new employees can be trained before the business opens in late January. If additional employees are needed, Sandy posts job openings on her neighborhood website and other resources. This strategy has proven to be highly effective as many of the employees live in her community. When a new employee is hired, they must sign a safety and privacy agreement. This document ensures that they won't share any confidential information or snoop through files. The short period of time also affects the benefits. There are no insurance options, but employees receive free tax preparation services for themselves and their children. Sandy and Tanya also like to bring in lots of food and fun treats to share with the office. If an employee cannot come in one day, then they simply let Sandy know and there is no issue. However, that means they will not get paid. If someone can't come in because of a catastrophic event, they will also not receive payment and may be temporarily replaced. They are welcome to return whenever they are ready. Another issue that Benton is ready to face is how to handle differences between employees. Hey Brian, did you put those files into the pickup drawer like I asked you to?
No, I put them into the regular file drawer.
Oh my god, they weren't supposed to go there! Why would you do that? You're so stupid! In a situation like this, Sandy would take the employees into her office and try to resolve it. If the situation failed to work out, one or more of the employees could end up fired. Depending on the severity and type of issue, whether it's sexual, offensive, physical, hateful, or a complaint, etc., the same procedures are followed. If an employee breaks an important rule like sharing people's information or committing a crime, then they will be fired. If an employee is making a lot of mistakes or isn't doing their job right, Sandy will try to talk to them, she'll try to work it out, but if that doesn't change anything, she will have a conversation with Tanya and that might result in firing said employee. Now you are aware of how Benton Tax and Accounting is ran. I think we've had enough of hearing about this business. Let's take a look into what I do. You want to know what work at Benton is really like? For me, every day was something like this. 12 p.m. Clock in and head to reception. In the case that a client would come in and drop off their taxes, we would pull their file from the pickup drawers back here. Then we would open up their online file on the software. From there, we would verify some information, and then we would take the income intake form sheet. And as receptionists, we just fill out the top half. Then we take their taxes, we put them in the file along with this sheet and put it right here. Then notify a tax team member. Tax team members are usually in these cubbies, and whenever they're ready, they will pull the clients out back here to have a 15-minute interview with them and just go over the documents to make sure that we have everything they need to do their taxes. 1:30 p.m. Time to call these clients and let them know their taxes are ready. Hello, is this Gertrude Smith? Who's asking? Well, this is Benton Tax and Accounting, and I just wanted to let you know that your taxes are ready to be picked up. How much do I owe you? Your total will be $150, but if you pay with cash or check, you'll get a $5 discount, and it'll be $145. Okay, now tell me the results. Well, I got good news for you. You got a refund from Kansas and Federal. Fine, now when can I pick these up? Our hours Monday through Thursday are 9 to 7, Fridays 9 to 6, and Sundays 9 to 4. Okay, I'll see you then. Alright, have a nice day. Whenever I call a client to let them know that their taxes are ready to be picked up, I find this folder and their file, which includes their taxes that they brought in and the results. It also has their name, their phone number, and how much they owe. So I go over that with them. Then if they ask, I can let them know if they got a refund or if they owe money. Now that we're done with the phone calls, time to start data entering. When data entering a client's info, we look at what document they have. So for example, this is a 1099-R. Then we open up their account on the computer and open up that document. Then we just copy the information on all the numbers in here onto there. So for box 1, it has this number. So we go to box 1 up here and just copy that number in, 26692. And you always round to the nearest dollar. Another thing that we have to make sure of is that the name and address on the paper matches exactly what is on the screen. When we're done data entering, we take this sheet and we sign our initials where it says inputted. Also put our name for the data entry or the number that associates with our name. Those are just a few things I get to do at Benton, and I hope this little day in the life was informative about my work. Now, I think it's time we've met my supervisor, Sandy. Let's see if she has any advice to offer about working at a job like this. Okay, so I'm here with Sandy, my supervisor, and I just have a few questions to ask you.
Okay.
What is an essential professional skill needed for this job?
I would say a professional essential skill would be speaking to the customers when they walk in and just making them feel like it's safe for them to give you their personal information because they are giving you social security numbers and birth dates and all that, so that you make it feel like they're safe to give us that information and that we're not going to do anything with it or lose it or anything like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So just so they feel comfortable and confident in us doing their stuff and that we keep their information secure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what have you done to master this skill?
For myself, working in what I do as the office manager, I deal with most of their problems. So I just try to make it to where they definitely know that I can help them with whatever they need and that their stuff is safe with us. And I train you guys at the front desk so that you hopefully understand a little bit about what you're taking from them and what you're doing up there. So when they come in and drop off their information, you make them feel like you're confident in what you're doing and that you're going to take their social security number and their birth date and put it where it needs to go and not anywhere else. Like it's not going to get put anywhere where anybody else shouldn't see it. And as far as I think that's my most important thing is training you guys to hopefully to where you understand enough to know that how you're presenting yourself to them is going to make them feel more comfortable with coming to us.
Yeah.
So feel confident in what you're doing. So, yeah.
And lastly, what advice would you give me in order to master that skill?
I would say just really try to, for sure, understand what you're asking them and make sure you understand it. And if you don't, come ask me so that you feel confident in asking them what we need. And really just, also, you kind of have to be able to stick up for yourself a little bit up there because sometimes they'll try to take advantage of younger people at the front desk. But yeah, just try to act like you know what you're doing, you know what you're asking for, and that you need them to give you what you're asking for. And that you'll be kind to them, but still let them know, you know what you're doing, you know what you need them to do, and you'll take their information and keep it safe so they can, sit down with the tax preparer and talk to them. And just so they have confidence in you pretty much at the front. I would just definitely try to just have a demeanor up there that you know what you're doing and that you are confident in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have learned a lot from interning at Benton Tax and Accounting. Some of the most important skills I have learned are how to use Drake software and Portal. Benton can't really function without these two sources as they are needed for nearly all of the work. Some of the main things I have done on Drake are scan documents in, data enter, and edit clients' files. At the front desk, I would have to verify information, which sometimes meant editing, deleting, joining, or creating new files. I have also gotten familiar with what Drake can do and where to find certain information. This internship has helped with other skills, one being communication and collaboration. When data entering, I've had to ask specific questions about tedious details in the process because one minor error could get the tax return rejected. This also connects to integrity and trust because Sandy trusted me to do my job right and ask questions instead of assuming or guessing. I do highly recommend this internship. It has been an invaluable learning experience, providing me with practical knowledge of tax preparation. The team at Benton Tax and Accounting is incredibly friendly and supportive, making it easy to ask questions and seek guidance. Overall, this internship has been both educational and enjoyable. I am very thankful to have had this opportunity.